Returnal is amazing. How's it going, everyone? So for today's video, I wanted to talk about Returnal. Returnal is a third-person action roguelite bullet hell game with a procedurally generated map, and for at least for me, the first time I've ever played a roguelike with a story. And in this game, they implement the story extremely well, and it took me by quite a surprise because when you think of roguelikes, you mostly think of a game that has a story in the background or like some sort of lore hidden behind it, but this game is almost driven by the story, and it is really cool. So I started playing Returnal probably about a week ago, and this game was released back in April 30th of 2021, and I remember when this game came out and I saw the trailers for it, and I was really interested and pretty intrigued by it because I do love roguelikes, and I watched the trailers and thought it was pretty cool, but when it came out, everyone said it had a lot of problems, and a lot of people said it wasn't very good, so I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to pick it up. And at the time, I was playing other games, so I kind of just didn't really think about it, and then the other week, I was looking at new games to play on my PlayStation, and I thought, what the heck, might as well try it, and I am so glad that I did. This game, I can't believe it came out so long ago, and I'm only just now finding it and figuring out how amazing this game is. The way this game has made me feel in the certain boss fights and the environment has been absolutely insane. The audio design for this game is almost unmatched. Like, it is so cool when you're playing this video game with the haptics from the controller and headset turned all the way up, and you're just fully immersed in the world and lush environments, and the audio is phenomenal. I'll show you a part of the game that really got me blown away and later in the video. But first I want to talk about what this game is and how it plays, and I could not recommend this game enough. So let's get started. So this game, like I said, has a procedurally generated biome. So basically there's different biomes and different worlds, I guess you could call it, that you travel through for different stages, you could say, for this game. And I'm not going to spoil too much, and I don't want to show too much because I feel like half of why this game is so awesome is just experiencing it for the first time, and seeing it all for the first time is just really amazing. So this game, as you go through the different maps and the different biomes, you have a in-game map to navigate, and the way they did this was really, really cool. So like most games, the map will show you different paths and different gateways that you can go through, but with this game, it'll show you the main paths and side paths. The main paths are indicated by the light blue rectangles, and the side paths are indicated by the darker blue triangles. So the main paths can have these little half circles above them, and those will usually indicate little shops or fabricators you can go to, and I'll explain more about those in a minute. And then the side paths will usually just be their triangles, and sometimes they'll be filled in, and that'll indicate that it is locked, and you can use a key to unlock those side paths. So the main paths are going to be where most of your story stuff is, like new gateways to different biomes or boss fights, and then the side paths are usually just showing you different paths that you can go to that aren't going to be main story implemented, but they're still going to have items and a lot of good stuff that you can go through. So what I usually do is I just go straight to those side paths, and I like discovering all the sideways before I even go to the main path of the game. It makes it super simple and super easy and really user-friendly for somebody who wants to go through and discover everything. They definitely thought about that a lot ahead of time and did it the right way. So navigating the map and navigating the environment is really easy and a lot of fun, and you definitely want to do all those things because inside of those maps and this environment there are weapons, perks, and consumables along with artifacts and parasites. So let's start with weapons. So your character Celine can only hold one weapon at a time, and that sounds kind of bad, but it makes a lot of sense when you factor in everything that those weapons can do. So when you're at low proficiency, so the way that the proficiency works in this game is that it is is a indication for your level of weapons that you're going to be collecting, and that proficiency can go up by killing enemies or collecting what's called calibrators. Calibrators are an item that you can find throughout the map that are going to increase your proficiency either by a little bit or a lot more depending on the effectiveness of the calibrator you find. So when you start the game, you're at 0 proficiency. When you're at 1 proficiency, it goes up in levels, and each weapon has their own stats and individual statistics, and I haven't figured out exactly what is probably the best thing to go for. I do know that bonus damage is very much a high priority for weapons. If you find one with a lot of bonus damage, that is really good, but the weapons have perks, and the higher proficiency you have, the more perks you can have, and I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure at 5 you can have 1, or from 1 to 5 you can have 1, from 5 to 10 you can have 2, I believe, and then from 10 to 15 you can have 3, so on and so forth. I could be wrong on those numbers. So the different perks on each weapon can completely change the way the weapon works. Like the starter pistol can get a burst fire mode where it shoots in a burst, or it can get a charge mode where it'll charge every shot and each shot will do more damage. The first rifle that you find can have a spinning up perk where it'll shoot faster the more you go through the mag. A lot of these weapons have a lot of perks that can completely alter the way the weapon works, and the way these weapons are in the game is really cool. They have so many different types of weapons. I won't spoil too much because, again, that's part of the game, is discovering these weapons. I remember when I found one of the weapons, it was so cool. It's a lot of fun discovering how they work and the different perks that they have. And then every single weapon has what's called an alternate fire mode. You get this at the very start of the game with your first weapon. And alternate fire modes are basically a weapon's ability. Like one weapon, the pistol I have at the beginning of this footage had a grenade, so when you hold the trigger down, normally in video games that'll aim the weapon, but in this one, when you hold it halfway and you feel the haptics of the PlayStation controller, it'll stop you at halfway, and that's your aiming. If you go all the way, then you enter into your weapon's alternate fire mode, which when I first played, I thought it was an extremely cool concept, and they did it really well with the haptics. You'd think that you'd maybe accidentally access your alternate fire mode a lot, but you ended up actually getting used to it pretty quickly. And if you ask me, when you play this game, I don't think you should ADS at all, because movement is very important, especially since this is a bullet hell kind of game. So I don't even ADS when I fight. I completely hip fire the whole time, and accuracy is really easy. It's really like there's a lot of aim assist that goes into this game, so you don't really have to worry too much about aiming. So that's how most of the weapons work. You can also find perks or artifacts that can change your gameplay. There's perks that'll increase your proficiency, which is how fast your weapon proficiency will go up. Your protection, you can increase your integrity, which is your health. You can increase how much the health items that you find will increase your health, and then all kinds of artifacts that can alter your game in different ways, and I'll show some of those on screen. They're a lot of fun. They're really cool. And then there's 2 items, or I guess perks in this game, that can give you benefits along with downsides. So there's parasites that you can find that'll latch onto you, and they will always give you a positive but also a negative, so you can outweigh the pros and cons. And most of the time I don't end up picking up parasites unless I can very much tell that the positives outweigh the cons. And when I first started playing this game, I'd pick up everything. I'd grab absolutely everything, but you'll soon realize what you like and what you don't like. And then there's malfunctions. Malfunctions can be found with malignant items. They give you a chance of getting a malfunction from picking up those items. Like there's malignant chests, which can have a chance, if you open it, will give you a malfunction, or you can open it and it won't give you one. So it's kind of a risk reward kind of deal. And these malfunctions will have downsides that you can get rid of, which is, I thought was really cool, that you have a way of getting rid of them. So if you don't mind the malfunctions for a little bit, you can get rid of them, but sometimes malfunctions can really hurt your run. There's some that'll completely take away half your health. There's some that'll stop you from being able to pick up a new weapon. But again, the ability to get rid of them is really fun. So to get into those chests and use some of those items, there's currencies and keys in this game. You can find the keys throughout the map. They kind of just spawn in as any item would, but they have a little bit less, or a little bit more of a rarity. You can find malignant keys, which have a chance of giving you a malfunction once you pick them up. And then the main currency in this game is what's called obolites, and those you can find by killing enemies, or they're scattered throughout the map. And then there's the ether. Ether is a permanent currency that when you pick it up, it'll carry through other rounds. You can think of lunar coins from Risk of Rain 2. Obolites disappear when you die, and ether, from what I found, it stacks to 30, and you can't hold any more than 30. So I tried bulking up on them, but you can't. So you can kind of generally just spend them as you please. You'll find that it's really easy to collect them if you play quite frequently. but you definitely don't want to be throwing around. Like with malignant chests, I'll usually just skip them because most of the time the malfunction isn't worth the item that you'll get from them. Or you can use ether to cleanse the chest. So if I have an abundance of ether, I'll use my ether to cleanse the chest and get a possible good item from it. And then on top of all this, you have fabricators. So fabricators, you use your obolites to purchase either artifacts or items that can help you in your run. Just another way to spend your currency and collect your currency to use to maybe help yourself out before boss fights. And then in this game, the footage that I have right here is me after I've beaten the game. So I have all of the permanent upgrades, and since it's a roguelite, you have those permanent upgrades you can find to help you either traverse the map or go into areas that are blocked off in the first part. And this game does a really good job of showing you all that you can access once you beat the game or once you get better and better, but still refraining you from accessing those things until you've beaten the game. So it gives an urgency of wanting to progress and get further and do better. But that also comes with a price of you have to think, like when I was playing, I would see all these grapple points or all these different areas where it's like, I know I'm supposed to be able to get there, I just don't know how, and I want to know and learn once I can get there. So it'd make me want to try to skip through the map or be really quick or not explore very much, and then you get humbled really quick when you go to a boss fight underprepared and not ready to complete the fight. So that is a really fun aspect. I thought it was super cool the way that they added those different bits of permanent upgrades into a roguelite. I think they did it perfect when it comes to roguelites, and it feels very fun, and the progression is really satisfying. So once you've done all this and you've gone through your first map, you get to your first boss. This boss is, a lot of people said it was one of the hardest bosses, like first bosses in games they've played, and for me it took me like 3, maybe 4 tries to kill him, because the first time I got to him I was pretty prepared, but I wasn't ready for, like I didn't have all of his moves and his attacks down, so I died pretty quick. The second time I just skipped through, I just wanted to kill the boss, and then the third time I was like, okay, I need to prepare myself before I go there. I need to search the map a little bit more to get ready. And I can't remember exactly 3 or 4 tries, but yeah, it didn't take me too long. And it's definitely one of the hardest bosses because you have little upgrades. You're not very progressed into the system as well as you do with the next bosses. You only have a couple weapons, and it definitely is a little difficult, but I like the challenge. And then the only knock on this game that I would have is that for me, the last couple bosses weren't very difficult at all. Like the final boss, I beat first try. Like I don't even think it really got me very low either. It was super easy, and that's like probably the biggest thing I have with this game. I wish it was a little bit more difficult, more challenging, because I was expecting to get to the final boss and like really having a struggle trying to kill him. But either way, there's one boss I will show you that absolutely blew me away. The immersion that I felt when I had my headset full volume and just playing the game, the visuals just look so awesome. I'll show you a little snippet. I know I didn't want to spoil too much, but I'm just going to show you a snippet from that.
Did you learn this melody from me? Or did I learn it from you?
So yeah, that was really cool, and this game is seriously amazing. And the other knock I have on it is probably that there's no crossplay. So this game is on Steam and PlayStation 5, and I have it on PlayStation 5. A lot of my friends play Steam, and oh man, I want so badly to be able to play with them and have that crossplay. It would be so fun. I've played multiplayer a little bit in this game with random people. You can join a public lobby with randos, and it's pretty fun. The multiplayer experience is cool, and I like it, but it would be so fun with friends. So crossplay would be awesome. Other than that, harder bosses maybe. Oh, and there is one other part of this game that is a lot of fun. That's the Sisyphus Tower. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically this endless tower that you climb, that every 20 levels you fight a boss, and there's just like every other item in the game in that tower. You have a points multiplier, and there's an all-time leaderboard, and that one's a lot of fun because it's kind of just a little bit more focused on, I guess, like they're both the main game and tower are both very focused on roguelike experiences, but that one's just a different roguelike experience. It's a lot of fun. This game is amazing. I could not recommend it enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go out and try this game. I seriously think you'll enjoy it, especially if you enjoy games like Risk of Rain 2 or Dead Cells or Hades. It is phenomenal. Don't listen to what people are saying if they say it's bad. This game is amazing, and thank you guys for watching.